Hey guys, sorry for bringing this up today. Looks like I'm just got home. I went to the Apple Store yet again today. And I have an iPhone Pro Max. It was, I originally got I went on Amazon after I went with Access Wireless, and I had an Android phone. And then I had my iPhone 15, just regular iPhone 15 I got from my brother from my graduation of University of North Texas, Frisco. It was a great phone. Then somehow my iPhone 15 got stolen or just disappeared. And then everything in my life kind of went to shit. Because everything in my life went to shit because I didn't have a phone, and all this stuff on my phone, my Facebook, my TikTok, my all that stuff was where I couldn't log into it. I couldn't get access to my information, my other stuff, just everything that was important about using and me streaming. I've been able to stream on Facebook since my lost my 15. I haven't been able to yeah, on Facebook really. I haven't been on Instagram that much. I had problems with I had authenticator that I had issues with. I did finally get a new iPhone. I got a iPhone Pro Max. Then I Pro Max 12 that was defective from Mobile Supply. I talked to Mobile Supply, and then I said I'd do some advertising. They were going to send me a 12 back to replace the 12 that they sent me. It was defective because it had a screen replacement and a battery replacement. So they said that if I did some advertising and did some other things, that they'd send me a 15 Pro Max. The 15 Pro Max is a lot more expensive than the 12. The 12 was I was pretty happy to having the 12, but the only problem with 12 versus the 15 was I just had a 15, regular 15, so I had the USB-C and everything was ready, hooked up to the USB-C world, instead of the the old world of the 12. The 12 used the MISFI connector. Anyway, I am pressing media through CS 2025, 2026. And it used to be where if you had a problem with your Apple phone or device that you could go to an Apple store or call Apple support, and if you have a license or ID, you could send it in, and then they reset your password, reset your login, and be able to get into your account. Even if you, and sometimes if parents wanted to look at their kids' stuff, they could give them an ID, and if they're on their same account, they could access their account or reset their password with the parents' ID and password. Because my sister did it, I think, with one of her kids. As when Steve Jobs was still running the company, not when Tim was running the company. It also there was different people in Apple. Steve and Wozniak and all of them created Apple back in the day. I'm 53 years old, so my first computer was an x86, and then my sister got a 512 or 128K Mac. It was the square little thing. It was a cool little computer. I learned, and then I fell in love with Windows. Then I switched over to just a DOS-based computer, and I was like, "Oh, I like my Windows." And so my dad got a DOS-based computer because he was in need for accounting and stuff, and I played Snipes on, but it just wasn't as good. So I went to use a the other computer, the I the anyway. So I fell in love with Windows, and also with gaming. Windows was and unfortunately the Mac just didn't have gaming. So I stayed with Windows, and I used um, I did my nieces fell in love with Macs after they had some issues with some PCs that just weren't real good in school, and I I didn't mind my PCs because I also learned to service them. I went through school and got a degree in networking computers, so I understood Macs and also knew PCs, and also knew Linux. Then Apple went through changes too. Apple went from having the Mac OS, and then they went to the X version of the Mac OS, and that's based on the different version of what Jobs brought back when Steve Jobs left the company and then went to Pixar, and then he went into creating his own company called Next Step. And Next Step, he merged back to Apple. When they merged back to Apple, they brought Next Step's OS. And then they turned the Mac OS into the Next Step OS, and then upgraded to, and so it's a lot more stable. It's based on on the version of Linux not Linux, but Unix that is, believe it or not, a little devil. It's BSD, and it's a cool Linux. Um, but so I don't know if the iPhone's based on BSD too, and that would be called some people call the iPhone the Jesus phone. Anyway, anyway, I when iPhone came out, I really wanted one, but I just didn't have the money. So my brother got one, I think, but I never got one until I got a my brother helped me with phones, and I had money from when I sold my property, and I never my family sold the property, so I never got anything really cool until I my first iPhone was an iPhone 6, and then I got my brother. I was working, and so working a little bit and got some money from the government from my disability, so I was able to upgrade my 6 to a 10, and then I went through school, got a degree at Coursera, working through Coursera and through University of North Texas. When I graduated, my brother was nice enough. His wife said, "I need a." They wanted to help me replace my 10 because had a damaged screen and the battery was going out. So they said, "We'll just replace." And she said, my sister-in-law said, make him get something that has a USB-C. So we was forced my brother to upgrade me to the 15 USB-C. I asked my brother if I could get, since I was going to do YouTube and I was just finishing school, I wanted to do YouTube. I wanted to get a Pro Max, but he didn't want to do that. So I upgraded to the 15, and I've been using that. I went to the CES 2025 with the Mac 15, and then I went to 2026, but then I had problems with storage issues. About 50 with the, and there I saw some issues with the 15. I was having problems with storage being 50 gigs or more of iOS and iOS data on my iPhone. And I saw this results also if you look on, I have it on a YouTube video, but also have it on, if you look in some of the things on uh, the other, one of the Reddits, you can see iPhone 15 and other series of phones on the iPhone and it does have it on some other phones, even Android, I think, that for some reason people are, their machines, their phones are, all the storage is, you know, is being used up. I don't, and some people say it's this or that, but I think it's government spying or something, but I don't know. But anyway, so I reset my phone when at CES, and then, but I also had my friend's iPhone, not iPhone. He gave me a phone called Real Phone, and it was based on a distro of Android that was Graphene OS, but he had this other thing called Selena OS, and it meant peace in Singapore. And that was what I took to CES, and I used that to record video, and then also used the iPhone, and then also used a USB sticks and other things to get recorded video on when that CES 2026. Went to the media event at NVIDIA. I went to all the different events. I was there for a week. It was a cool. It was cool. It was cool. It was neat. I really wanted to go to Computex. I did meet some girls at the press area in CES, and then was able to get. They invited me to come out to Computex in Taiwan. I didn't make it to Taiwan. It was a cool, but life goes on. I've been having this issue with my. Hear voices, and sometimes and sometimes I get messed up and for someone I get confused in my password, and somehow I don't understand why Apple's reset password takes for a week to get access to your password. It takes, if you reset your password from iCloud, it will take you a week. How many people have that much time for access to their phone, lose their access to their phone for an iPhone. And especially if I'm pressing media, I can't do that. And it makes me force me to buy a phone like this. This phone. It's a prepaid phone, $50 phone. Now I'm using this. I'm getting used to this, and this is Android. Now, I would love to have my iPhone. The iPhone 12 Max from I got was used. It was on through I got it through a firm, and that was like $400 or $350. And then the people that the first uh, who- with the people that I connected to, I don't remember the name right now. Anyway, they were Mobile Supply. That they were Since it was defective, they let me trade it up to a 15 Pro Max. The 15 Pro Max was working great. I was having no issues, but I had some problems. I did restore. I got everything working. Then I couldn't get access to some of my stuff because um, I lost access still to my Facebook. I still lost access to my Twitter. I have access to my Twitter, but I don't have access to or X. I don't have access to Facebook or Instagram. I can't do streams to Facebook or Instagram. Um, anyway, so I went to the Apple Store about 3 weeks ago, and I when I had the 12, and then asked them to um, or something for some sport, and I had problems then. And then I went back again about 2 weeks ago, asked them, had issues with using my iPhone um, um, Pro Max 15 was rebooting all the time. It was just I didn't know if it was I had three eSIMs on it, and it was eSIM for um, they're all T-Mobile, but or one was for Access Wireless, but it was zero wireless, and then I had a eSIM for the Mint Mobile, and then I had an eSIM for the um, for Cricket. This is a Cricket prepaid phone, but I actually have Mint Mobile on it, and I have Cricket also. I don't really own it. I have paid two, but I paid for the Mint Mobile, and I don't know if the Cricket's active or not. Um, it's a good little phone. Actually had some other phones. And then I've also had I had another Samsung phone. I misplaced that. I don't know where it went to. And then my Pro Max has disappeared and come back. And then my 15 I still have not located. And then so I now got my I went to the Apple Store today, and I went in there and talked to them. I said, I need this looked at. Is there any way? And then they said it has to be turned off. The Find Me iPhone needs to be turned off because if you open it up and if you pry it with tools, and it will cause it to self-destruct, basically. If you or self-destruct but if they if it does that, does it just erase what's on the machine, or can you? If it does that, then I can just restore it to a new version, can't I? Or delete what's on there and just reinstall? I need to know if I need a phone. I need access to my phone. I need to know what's wrong with the phone. I spent $400 on this iPhone 12 Pro Max, and now I I owe Mobile Supply good reviews and good stuff about the Pro Max 15. The 15 was, the phone that I always wanted to get when my brother offered me to upgrade my 10. My 10 was a full 10. It was just like a Pro Max. When there wasn't a Pro Max in the 10 series. The 10 was a cool phone. I enjoyed having my 10. It was 256, and this Pro Max was 256 also. That's what changed. The 15 I had was a 128, and I noticed that when 256 was more storage, and I do a lot of videos for my YouTube. I have 14 different YouTube channels. I have TikToks, and I have TikToks. I do also do stuff on I Facebook, X, all these other places I put. I'm also trying to. I also have hosting problems I have hosting problems. First time I had the hosting with Performance, I have no problems with it. Certified Hosting was before that. I had no problem with them. Then they pushed me over after Performance was merged with Cloud First. They put me over to Exact. I've had problems with Exact, so I left Exact, went to um, the Hostinger. Had problems with Hostinger restoring some websites and trying to get, but I did get my websites up. Two of my websites up out of the five websites, and I just had some issues. So I asked for a refund and moved to Bluehost. Had problems with Bluehost, and then I decided maybe I'll just host my own and use CloudForce, and then just transfer using name my websites I have to my YouTubes. I've had problems with transferring Spacesbox to Spacesbox YouTube, and I don't have a Spacesbox Media, so I was transferring that to a TikTok, and I had problems with that. So I tried to host it on cloud. Um, it was on Cloudflare, and then I was going to host it on my personal machine here. Well, that didn't happen either. It's still on Cloudflare, but the other stuff was on name, and I can't access. I can access name. I just most of it works, but I'm still working through those issues. But when I got to Apple, the guy said, "Well, we can't help you. You have to wait for the 7 days." I said, "I need my phone. I paid for it. I spent all this money." Well, you can call Apple Support. So I went and called Apple Support again, and I spent time talking to Apple Support. Now I've been hearing this voice in my head. It was Tim in my voice in my head, and then I also hear other people's head in my voice. And I've been having problems with Tim in my voice in my head, and I've also been having problems with Trump in my head. I don't know if they're in my head or not, but I don't know if I could be, and God, I could just be a fucking idiot, or I could be something like a confused geezer. I am 54 and I'm disabled and I get low, I'm on disability on SSSDI, and I have to do food stamps and I have to work in the pantry to survive, and it's hard for life for me. It's not easy. This shirt, is a from my when I graduated um, University of North Texas. This shirt's worn out because this is the only shirt I got from graduating from University of Texas. I even wanted to on my stuff on Amazon wish list. I had stuff for like my car. I wanted the little emblems upon my car and all this other stuff for University of North Texas. And then I donated my car recently because I made a post about Donald Trump, and then my car got damaged by somebody who was mad at me because I'm in a big Republican area, and somebody destroyed my car. I had problems with my radiator just instantly running out of water. And then, so I ended up getting it repaired by a lady, and then or a man, and then after it was repaired, she told me not to drive it, and I towed it back here, and then I left it off, and then finally I just got tired of it. I said, I'm going to run the engine, blow the engine, or try to get it to work. And so I was going to repair it myself. Well, it was running, and so it worked fine. I said, and then I got in and couldn't put it in gear and couldn't drive it anywhere. And so when I was doing that, the car fell back into the parking spot, and then the people here at the complex said, "You are no longer can have that vehicle on our grounds. We have to have it towed. So I have to sell it or donate." Well, I was going to sell it at one point, and then contacted the the people over at Cars for Tiles, and they said they'll give me 150, 150 or 160, $70. Some guy came up and said, one of the guys from Cars for Tiles came up and said, "Well, I did this once before, and it was because I had a car. It was a Rav4 that my sister gave me. This is the second car from my nieces that I purchased or bought from my nieces, and that was car, and that car actually stopped working in the middle of 405 near the place where the Apple store I went today was these Everin Spectrum. Anyway, but and I almost died because when I was with my roommate, I was taking her to a class at University of Long Beach. Anyway, but then this car, anyway, so the car is broken, and I had to donate the car to the veterans, and so because I got tired when Cars for Tell, a guy came in from Cars for Tell and said, "Well, unfortunately, your car has all these issues, so I'm not going to give you the $200 you want. I'm going to give you only $100." And I said, "Well, each tire is worth at least $50, so that should be $200. They were brand new tires. They had mags and everything else, and it was, a Ford Escape was 2002 or 6. It's not going to bring a lot of money, but it's anyway. So unfortunately, I had no pro. I had to sell it. I said I can't sell it today, and then I just got tired, and then my apartment complex said it has to be sold, so I said decide and donate it to the charity. So it's at the charity now. I have video of on my YouTube channel, also on TikTok, and Space on Michael Goldie and Spaces Box Media on TikTok. Anyway, well, I went to the Apple Store and I did get in contact with a person. They couldn't. They said the guy said he would not. He couldn't get into my phone without it, and he even told me call Apple Support. Well, I got into talking to Apple Sport, and Apple Sport was, you know, I feel like I hold on again, and I asked for a supervisor, and the guy went, and then he wouldn't give me a supervisor. He just, talked to me, and then I got rude because I was like, I really need this phone active, and then he said he was trying. We almost got in an argument a couple times, and so I was thinking the guy's just trying to piss me off enough that he's going to ban me from Apple, completely ban me from Apple. Well, I guess they'll, ban me from Apple. I actually liked Apple products, and I buy a 6, I buy a 10, upgrade my 10 to 15, and then I got 15, and then I got 12, and then the Pro Max. So I do like Apple products. And I am a CES 2025, 2026 reporter, and I do like media. I did have a Mac 512, and I played with Mac 128, and I'm not. I was a big fan of Steve Jobs and Wozniak and all the people that created Apple when it first came out. I'm old and geezer. I'm old geezer that I remember when the first Macs came out because I'm that old, and also the first Macs came out then, and also the PC was just the actual evolution of the PC and Windows and everything. I remember Microsoft Windows was a big thing. It came out, and then the OS2 Warp I thought was going to be a big thing, and it didn't turn out that well. Anyway, but I've been doing computer stuff for all my life. Um, anyway, it looks like my anyway. Thank you for talking. Um, please check out my other things. Um, this is proof that I'm media. Um, this is check that out. And media through CES and through Computex, and also this is my business card I took to CES 2026. This is a picture of my sister took of me. This is how much I'm making Social Security, 1,198. This is confirmation for 2006, saying and these are my media badges, and then this is Computex, and this is my Bible app just because I like it. And then there's Cross and some other stuff, and then this is me and my dad. He never knew I would be media through CS, and then this is some Bible scripture, and then there's just different clicks to go to different things, and you can find my media stuff on X. You can also find it on Who Michael Gouldy. Um, and I've been and this is I make 1,199. This is stuff the from media stuff. And these are different links. This is the housing. I was homeless a couple, 3 or 4 times in my life. I lived in my dad's office for a little while. Then when I was working for him, then I also lived at my dad's office after he closed down. And then I went to California to help my sister's uncle. And then I came back to Amarillo as homeless at Salvation Army. Then and on the outgoing program, that's the non-drug rehabilitation program. And the outgoing program, I went to work for Best Buy, and then I went in the cameras, not technology, just cameras. And then I went and got a job as a stalker at, at the at the Office Depot, and then I went to be a cashier, and then I um, lost my job for two failed surveys, and then went to live with my brother for a little while. Tried to find some work in Colorado, and then I moved out to California, got into the homeless shelter, friendship shelter, and lived in Laguna Beach. Lived there for 6 months, and then got in their homeless support housing with this other guy. Lived with him for a year and a half until he destroyed my apartment, and then he exited. Then I went with my guy roommate. She been with her for the last 10 years. She got a bachelor's degree and 3 associates or more associates, and I got a bachelor's degree also. So I'm really proud of both of us. We used to sometimes, me and my first roommate and her went to Church of the Master, got some food there at one point. And now they don't do it anymore. And then Church of the Master also gave me a battery uh, for my Escape. Pantries at St. Killian, Solano, and South County Outreach, and Comfort Cafe at Church of Christ was helpful to me. I did volunteer at the Solano Catholic Church. I have no PayPal or Patreon memberships. Currently, I have no cash. Basically, I have 6 or 7 donations. I have a USB C device. I have some other devices. I have a USB charging for an iPhone wirelessly, and then I have those 2 devices, and then I had a PurePhone OS from PurePhone. It was my friend. He was a LAN party guy in Colorado. I used to know him in Amarillo a long time ago. We used to go out and hang out. Anyway, he gave me his phone to review. I needed to review more of it. It unfortunately stopped working. It was on a Pixel phone, but it was a Graphene OS port of it, and it was piece. It was from Singapore. Um, it's to block all porn, block Reddit, block everything. It was kind of an interesting version of graphene. Um, uh, and then also had several other donations. But those are and then I had some vitamins donation from my brother, and then my brother did help me with a 15 iPhone, and then I think that's it mostly. This is my Facebook. If you want to find me, it's Michael J. Gouldy on Facebook. This is my donation. If you want to donate to me, I'm either on Patreon or Google. Google. Um, yeah. And I appreciate your time. Appreciate all your support. I wish I would. I'm sorry I was such a jerk to the guy on the phone here at Apple, but it takes me 3 hours to get to the Apple Store from Rancho Santa Margarita. It took me 2 hours to get to Mission Viejo Apple Store. It took me 3 hours to get to the Apple Store in the I just don't have enough money to get a Uber to get there and I have other issues, and I am pressing media. So I thought they would help me and work with me. Looks like this iPhone Pro Max is going to be a paperweight, and I'm going to be starting to use Android full time, I guess. Goodbye, Apple. Hope life gets good for you. Maybe hello Android or Linux or something. Maybe I'll go back to Apple one of these days. Thank you for watching.